I just like to observe the see what. Wait for it. Wait for it, Lucy's going to Do you have any extra copies of the site plans for tonight? This is on the website.
I didn't print off mine, or I keep mine on my laptop, but if you'd like to walk up here, I have one hard copy of the record.
So, no, that'd be great.
Do you schedule going to?
There's
No, we don't.
mixed in
No, I
here
don't.
too.
The definition of cable shows the properties. The cell can't. Right. Okay. For the dollars, so forth. Didn't know if there was any use.
Yeah.
Program. Okay, there's side tables, there's a dresser or two, there's a couple of dressers. Yeah. Some outdoor furniture.
We were
The rectory over there.
It's fully from.
For.
We do have.
Yeah, so we had.
Four bedrooms.
Fully from. Oh. Oh, pretty well set.
Yeah.
Okay. I thought it stopped there first. You know, any potential reuse of the stuff in that program. I was unfamiliar with the program.
The zoning board,
That's where the summer interns.
that was the other piece that I couldn't find.
In line.
There's some outdoor furniture that's older wrought iron with cushions.
Just had a question. I don't know if Christie got her, the new survey. I could not find it. Yes.
Should get. I can
The,
try to bring it up for you.
cause I have the one that she sent in, but then they were over surveying from my land.
We're the
on
neighbors.
Saturday. Yeah.
Oh, thanks, Bill.
Okay,
Just make sure it gets back.
Yeah.
Actually, I might see Gilbert's.
so this is you.
Gilbert.
Yes.
Okay.
So,
Grab to know that.
yeah. Yes, that's right.
So.
Okay.
This is it.
That was, for whatever reason, I just really struggled.
From the, what is prepared by
Struggled.
the surveyor.
Oh,
It's
me
being
too.
the
I couldn't
extension of the
find
littoral lines.
Littoral
Okay, so
survey map.
they draw this imaginary line
Okay.
based upon their understanding of
I'm spending a fair amount of
the
time.
topography of the area
Yeah.
code.
Okay.
Stuff. That's
So the only
why
issue-
we have like a
so
formal plan,
That doesn't show.
when they
right
show a
away.
revision block, you know that like,
Yeah.
this is the
It
current.
is not.
Okay,
Instead of like,
that's the only.
we scribbled this week, now we scribble this week.
Cause my. deck
Initially, the
does come here.
suggestion was that it was going to be here.
Yeah, we have the water surveys are a lot.
And they want I believe it was a 8x12.
Skewed lines or.
Yeah.
Because it was 12 feet on my line.
So is that scrap?
Sorry,
So was that idea scrap?
I don't know if that's changed. Okay. This is new to us this
Right.
evening, so this is the prelim.
Okay.
I didn't realize they were not.
Who are you guys?
Just throw 'em all.
Valerie Murray,
For the Still Shore.
8427 social.
The neighbors.
Next door, the boathouse?
Yes.
How are you?
And I'm sorry I walked on your land because I couldn't figure out where the piece of property was. So
I did the same
apologize.
thing.
You know, truth, we wouldn't have known anything about any of
The
this
dog did.
had I not. I heard.
Yeah.
So, well, when we got home last Monday, I found the little pink flag in the driveway and I'm sitting here going, what's going on?
Yeah, I had the message. to
So
others
we had to
find out.
make a couple of phone calls and things to find out. We're like, oh, nice to know all this.
Code says that they're supposed to notify all neighbors within 500 feet of any of these projects, and someone will have to.
It's understood.
It's
Yes,
not
please.
getting done for years.
I can't.
Alright.
I'm sorry, I'm in your way.
That's okay.
But I think you're supposed to notify all neighbors with.
I'm gonna go sit down before I get in somebody else's way.
You're right.
Created a lot of potential. Unless they revise that code, we don't.
Kind of fading out. right?
Yeah, you're, what does that say?
Must be that I'm kind
Well,
of,
at least you're, well, yeah, that's,
it looks like my printer, out of ink always. Even when there's brand new ink in it, tells me it's out of ink.
It's there.
Thank you.
Turn the things on before yours.
And geez, I think Linda tonight. What's that all
I
about?
had to stop and get gas and get my, I have a tractor that I use as a snow blower and a lawnmower, and they're coming to switch it over. So I stopped and got gas just in case they needed it. So I'm late, sorry.
we're just grateful you're here.
Me too.
No, I think maybe I will be here on Wednesday to,
The time of the meeting?
7.
It's almost time. Okay, it's 7 o'clock. It's time to start our meeting. We'll start by introducing the board members. If you want to begin.
Kathy Beretta.
Bill Cudlin.
Linda Youngman.
Bruce Evener.
Janine Fogarty.
Mark Costage. And Bill McKee.
Okay, we do have a forum. This was advertised in the Wayne Times and posted on the village website. I'll start by saying that there was a bit of confusion over the question and answer session that the way it was posted. That is on Wednesday at 7 o'clock. The public will be invited to speak. It'd be hard to have a question and answer session without that. So I'll mention that again later in the meeting for anybody who joins us late. Okay, our first item of business is to review and approve the minutes of the April 1st meeting. If you haven't already looked it over, would do so and make any suggestions that you need. I did make that change that you asked for, Bill, change from Mrs. to Ms.
I'll move that we approve the minutes of April 1st as amended.
Second.
Okay, Mr. McKee, how do you vote?
Yes.
Okay, Mark won't be voting since Kathy's here,
Yes.
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 and I'm a yes, so it's approved unanimously. Okay, our first item on the agenda, we kind of reversed things from the way it was posted, is the preliminary site review for 8429 Silver Road, to construct a 4x40 permanent dock per DEC permit. Okay, let's see, that's Ms. Wood is on the line. If you could unmute yourself. Let's see if I can help with this process. In this,
Okay, thank you. I'm unmuted now.
thank you. Okay, would you review what your project is again for us, please?
Yes, so 8429 does not currently have a dock. We'd like to put a dock there at the level of the grass, which is at the wall level, and allow for handicap access to boats at the water. All the appropriate permits, approvals, and concerns have been met by the Army Corps of Engineers, State of New York, et cetera. We've fulfilled the request of the planning board to provide a survey with the littoral lines that is included, should be included. I sent it on to the code enforcement officer. In addition to that, you asked for a construction document from Brandon Martin at Martin's Tide Sides. That has been included. I think you asked for a secret form. I filled that out to the best of my ability. It's not a form that I'm familiar with, but happy to answer any questions. It was filled out, like I said, from kind of a pedestrian's view. But like I said, not a form I've seen before. And so, you know, I respect the requests of the planning board, and I'm happy to answer questions at this time. And I believe Brandon Martin is there as well.
Yes.
Okay, I think that concludes my remarks. Like I said, Brandon, I really think is, you know, the person with the expertise here.
Okay, thank you. I'm gonna start with Mark. Mark.
Oh, okay. So I appreciate very much the survey that was given to us. I think that answers a lot of questions we had at the last meeting.
Great.
You know, the survey was very informative. It did include littoral lines, outlining where the surveyor indicated he thinks that the lines are, and it included notes to the effect that, you know, he felt that the lines represented did not impact neighboring properties, which, you know, I think is important to the village to have that stated by a professional, and it's not necessarily staff or this board's expertise to say whether or not that is the case. I guess my concern in looking at it would be that the question is to the location within the space is defined as where the dock could be. It is pushed extremely to the limit where it could be to the west. And I guess a question would be, is there a lift proposed for this dock? Especially, is there a permanent lift proposed?
Not at this time. It's a possibility. We already have a permanent lift on the other dock. You know, at this time, you know, the benefit of having it westerly is that, of course, we preserve the views of the property, because there's already quite a large structure to the west of it, which is that boathouse. So, you know, of course, you wouldn't want to obstruct, any more of the views than are already obstructed by my neighbor.
Okay, well, you know, if there could be a lift and it could be permanent and it could be a structure, that I think to be within the littoral zone is, you know, something that could be a conflict because you could actually result in blockage of the shoreline with that structure and with a proposed lift. If the dock were to be shifted easterly 10 feet, that would put a lift and the dock, you know, outside of the 10-foot offset and would certainly be more desirable from any potential conflict, leaving you the opportunity to put a structure anywhere.
Well,
I
I
guess
would,
another comment would be that if you are going to put in a lift, that, you know, I would think that it should be shown to the planning board prior to doing it if it is indeed permanent. Let me just go on and finish mine, and then, you know, the chair can take people as they go. Or I'm also concerned with the ability to repair or remove permanent docks. We're seeing a lot more of those. Is there ability to put in conditions of approval that they be either removed or replaced if they are damaged, such that we don't have docks that are up in the air and a problem? I did hear you say that there was municipal approvals from different agencies. We did get the letter of no permit jurisdiction from the DEC. That basically saying that they're not going to permit it or not going to issue a permit for it. So that's good for you. OGS, I'm not sure where we're at with that. I don't believe I saw any correspondence or anything indicating to us that that had been reviewed, approved, and leased. That I think is important because they have some pretty strong guidelines that we've found in the internet of OGS suggestions that are along the lines of some of the ones I'm talking about here. So with that, I'll pass, except for in seeker. We can go through the seeker form if you get to that point.
First, would you explain to her what OGS is?
Office of General Services. I'm sorry. They're the ones that the OGS would lease the land. They're the land owners, New York State, under the water for permanent docks. They need to lease the land to the applicant. And, you know, in doing that, they're.
so just so that you know, I have the land, I have the document from the OGS right here. We would never have gotten this far had we not had all the appropriate documentations from the state of New York, the DEC, the OGS, etc. So, you know, all that's been done.
Well, yes, but we need copies of that, okay?
I think they were
I
provided, Kevin.
Yeah, I have copies, but we've never needed them for the application for you guys, so I didn't submit them to you. I just gave you the ones that you guys had requested in the past.
And
I have
my real
the
concern,
ODS,
thank you,
Army
Kevin.
Corps, and
Yeah,
DEC.
why don't I let Brandon speak for a minute? He's the contractor, and I think he has a better sense.
Ms. Wood, I'm still in charge. Thank you.
Okay, well, anyway, go ahead.
Thank you. We will give Brandon a chance to describe it. I want to hear from the board members, then I will hear from Brandon. Okay? Mr. McGee?
I don't have anything to add.
Mr. Brenner?
I don't have a problem with Ms. Wood's application, mainly because of what is going on my side of the house. And I know people don't want to hear it and they don't want me to bring it up, but there's 5 docks and there's not even on their own property. So that set a precedent years ago with the same code that we have today. So the distance between these docks it seems to me that some people can have them and some people can't, so I'm all for Miss Woods to have whatever she wants.
I appreciate your thoughts. Mr. Kevin?
I'll echo Mark's comments to some extent about the location of the dock and the location of any prospective hoist or lift. If it were to be located on the westerly side of that dock, it strikes me as being very, very close to the littoral line of the adjacent neighbor. And the suggestion that Mark made to perhaps relocate the dock slightly easterly. I don't even know if we needed to go as far as 10 feet, but if one, because there's 5.5 feet from the littoral line at the end of the dock as it currently is proposed. If it were to be shifted, if the location of the dock were to be shifted 6 feet to the east, it could make a significant difference. So I'd propose that, and that would give sort of equal spacing for the location of any prospective hoist on either the east or the west, my view. But I don't have any other questions. I thought the survey was excellent, nicely done by the number of folks.
I also had concern about placement of the dock and moving it 6 feet to the east would make sense. And then I have a question. I'm not sure if Kevin can answer or you, Bruce. We have a piece of paper signed by the co-trustee. My feeling is I don't have any trustee documents, and how do I know somebody didn't just make this piece of paper up?
Kevin?
Yeah.
Question about the authenticity of the trustee letter.
Yeah, what would you want in place of that?
I would like a copy of the trustee document, so I know who the trustees truly are. That's what we requested for somebody else who came for a doc, so I kind of want to be consistent.
Okay.
I still don't know who the legal trustee is because I have not seen any legal paperwork.
Okay, so I mean, if you want a copy of trustee document, I guess, Chrissy, how hard would it be for you to get the document that says who the two trustee parties are?
Well, let's do this. Yeah, any mortgager would want the first and last page of any trust document. What's in the middle is nobody's business. That's a private matter. The two trustees are outlined. May I speak? The two trustees are outlined on page 1, and it's notarized. It's a notarized document. So I'd be happy to disclose that. The rest is a private matter. So, I think that, while I want to comply with reasonable requests of the village, I think it's unusual and unreasonable to ask that I would request that I would have to submit anything more than a mortgager would ask, even though the property has never been mortgaged and it was paid for in cash. So I just want you to know this trust owns properties, at least a half a dozen, and these, the entire trust document has never actually been requested by a bank or a title company. So, I'll give you the first and last page, and I think that discloses who the trustees are, and I think that's adequate.
Mrs. Wood, thank you. That's all we want is proof of who they are. We don't need all the details in the middle, okay?
Thank you. Right.
Can Bruce, does anyone have a code book there by chance?
I do.
Can you just make sure you go to the doc section, go to the I believe it's 8622. Let me pull up my section.
Got it
real
open
quick.
right in front of me.
Perfect. I just want to make sure we're following the separation there and we're not enforcing a more restrictive code on her. I don't mind if you recommend, I just want to make sure we follow that section for the setback.
Thank you, Kevin. I am very concerned that we are being held to a different standard than my neighbors. I think that's onerous. and I think it's discriminatory. And I have deep concerns that we're
Appreciate
held to a different standard.
things, but it's our turn to talk now. I don't want to have to use you, but I will if I have to. Okay? Kevin, all we're asking is to make sure that it's safe and navigable. The dock, we have pushed to have docks moved over in the past.
Yep, I agree. Yeah, I have no issue with you guys recommending at all. I just want to make sure we're just clear with her that 10 foot's the requirement.
As far as the
10 foot is the requirement, has nothing to do with saying what that is. Structures are what we're concerned about, and
Right. So I don't want to get into an argument because this is the applicant's time. So this is an application for a dock. Docks are required to be 10 foot from the littoral parcel. So you have to make sure that we only require that. You can recommend anything you want, but we have to just go by what the code book is.
Get that, Kevin. Okay,
Thank you, Kevin. Thank you.
I would just respond that again, the OGS documents, which they are the leasee of the property, suggest all docks and lifts be 10 foot. And also littoral lines, the survey that's been put forth, again, we're all complimenting and we agree with. The survey notes, number 3 says, adjacent littoral lines were reviewed during survey and found to have no adverse impact. And I compliment and commend the surveyor for stating that. But you have to understand, these are not hard, fast rules. And if you put the dock right on the littoral lines, you can, in fact, encroach in them if somebody interprets them differently. And there's a lot of case that they are interpreted differently all over. This case, they took a straight shoreline. Well, if you look at the shoreline as a concave shoreline based upon the neighboring properties, I think you could clearly argue the littoral lines are much further into this property. So caution, I think, would be the way to go.
So you asked me to get a survey. I did that by a licensed surveyor, and now you're questioning it?
I said it's my turn now. Thank you. Okay, the proposed dock in your original application, you show a boat hoist that's 8 by 12 on the west side of that dock, showing that you had 12 feet there.
Is there a question?
Would you be willing to, I know you said you at this time have no plans on a boat lift, but if you were to put the boat lift on the east side, that leaves plenty of room there. I worry about boat traffic between your dock and your neighbor's dock. We have to take safety into consideration, and that dock being 8 foot wide on a 12 foot piece there, there's only 4 foot between it and the neighbors. I'm proposing that if we were to allow this dock, that you place the boat hoist on the east side to allow for plenty of room there. You can bring a boat in on the west side and tie it to your dock if you want, but but the hoist on the east side.
May I ask a question?
Just a second. Christie, is that something that you would consider?
Is Brandon gonna speak here?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Go for it. Let's go.
In the code, does it say what side it has to be on?
Do you know it?
Are we talking about lifts or dock?
We're talking about the lift.
So is the application for the dock or the lift?
I'm asking.
If you put the lift in a certain location, you can't move it later to put the dock in a certain location. You can't move the dock later to put the lift in. And
Can
if,
you
are
show-
you talking about a permanent structure?
Can you show me?
The
where
code,
you- I'm asking you. It's my turn, right? I'm asking you.
number
You
one, I don't
stated-
think the chair should be allowing us to have a dialogue.
I'm just trying to figure it out. If we don't ask questions, I know every time somebody talks and you guys have a problem with the question they ask you, shut them up. What I'm saying is you said you had a document from OGS that
Yes.
states that the dock and the lift have to be 10 feet from the property line. I'd like to see that.
Go online, OGS.
Or show me. You're making facts in a meeting. I'm asking for the proof.
I'm not here to debate with you, the public.
Also, you
No,
stated that
he's
the
my
surveyor
contract.
is a professional.
One person at a time. You asked him to talk, now let him talk.
You stated that the professional was the surveyor, not you, not me, the surveyor. And he put that recommendation on the survey. And then in another sentence, you say, well, we can't go by what he says. I mean, he's either is or isn't. She got the stuff and we're here today for the dock. And I don't believe you guys have any code for the lift. And if you do, please show it to me.
Brandon, as I already answered you, you know, we don't. We are asking. We're not.
Right, I get that, but the answer was already no. I mean, you guys asked, can it go to the east? Can it go to this? The answer is no.
Well, what we do have the power to do is do seeker, and we could do a coordinated review.
If you've
And then
done
we
that
could
with every
have
dock like this,
OGS
go
come
ahead.
in, we could have OGS come in, and they could explain their state, but if we're the lead agency, this could take a long time to figure out. We're nicely asking if we could
That's common
accommodate the
practice,
neighbors.
we have no problem with it.
Have the neighbors been notified of this location, and are they on board with it? That would solve it.
Yeah, well, they were quite aware of the survey. They were there. We've been in a dialogue on it, of course.
Pardon me.
we're in here.
We'll open this up for public comment in a minute.
Okay,
Okay?
so there, I think that we're not trying to create new code. We're trying to stay completely within the code. There are guidelines from other agencies. That's what seeker's for, is to look at a coordinated review. We're trying to avoid the time and effort that involves by coming to a reasonable compromise. But if we need to go down a road that takes it so that it's coordinated between all the agencies that are involved, we can do that. And that would be our jurisdiction.
Well, I appreciate that. I'm only asking that if you are gonna do that, that it be consistent with everyone. I've been up here for
It has
applications
nothing
far
to do with
before
that.
But it absolutely does. You set a precedence. You can't just say, we didn't get the answer we wanted on this one, so we're gonna send this one this way, and we get it the other one. Good God, straight down. You're wrong. I feel it. Calm down.
You got my chair.
Look at, we're looking at each application on its own merit.
That's what I
That's the way
understand,
it
but
is.
it is, just like she said, a little discriminatory. I've stood here and not one time I've came with either the wife or the husband of the property, and never have you asked for the other one.
Well, that's,
Never once. And now we're saying we have to have both? Never once.
It's a trust. We have to.
That,
I think we're
That is
changing the
absolutely-
subject here, aren't we?
no, that's one of the things
No.
that you're requesting you do.
Pardon me. Okay.
I've done everything you asked me to do,
Oh.
and we have to now wonder
Thank
why it's not good enough. Why isn't it good enough? We've done everything you asked.
You can,
Are we not allowed to ask questions?
No.
I have no problem being quiet. I just want to know.
Thank you. All right. Tell us about the dock.
The dock is just like on the plans, requested to go out and be 10 foot off the property line or the littoral line that was on the survey map.
And when you come back for, final review, we will have the drawings, engineering.
You have everything that we've ever requested for any other permit.
All I got was a piece of paper describing bird way.
And that's more than what was asked for any other permit we've ever had here.
No, it isn't.
It is, you guys have the DEC permit that includes the drawings right on it.
It's not a permit.
Well,
This
I
one
think
says
it
no permit is required,
says
right,
no permits
because it
required.
falls under, it is a permit, because it falls, non-jurisdictional means that it falls under the already permitted.
And I have to say that the Army Corps of Engineer, I believe they actually used the word that, you know, that there's a permit, that they're acknowledging that it is permitted.
And it does not
Yeah,
say,
and actually, I
Right.
have it right here. I'll read from the Army Corps of Engineers letterhead right here. It says, I've completed my review for your Department of Army application and have determined that it may be authorized by the attached regional permit 87-000-1. I mean, how much more clear can it be?
Maybe you could just provide that, if Kevin has it, then he'll
He has
provide.
it. He has it.
Well, we need to see it.
No, we haven't seen that.
Well, maybe Kevin didn't show it to you because it's not normally required. I think I wouldn't be here if we didn't have all the required, there were at least 5 state, documents required. You know, I don't know what hurdle you want me to jump over next, except the whim of the board.
all right. Kevin, you're gonna need to get us a few more things. Okay, you said you got the OGS and all that, you need to get those to us, please.
Okay.
Okay,
I'm asking if you're gonna push this on. If you guys needed that, why wasn't it asked by Kevin prior?
We already submitted it. We already submitted it.
You know what I mean? As an applicant, we've submitted everything.
well,
And you're saying you didn't have it. I mean, it is definitely holding up stuff that has never been held up in a different application.
well, you gotta come back anyway, so this is only preliminary. Okay. So it's not setting you back any.
Okay.
Okay. Now, Brad, I'm gonna ask you to have a seat. And I'm gonna open this for public comment, okay? Okay. All right, we're gonna start with those who are in attendance. If there's somebody who wishes to speak about this application, please step up, identify yourself.
Hi, I'm Valerie Murray, 8427 Social Road.
My hearing aids aren't quite picking up everything.
Valerie Murray, 8427 Social Road. I just want to point out that I wasn't notified that there were going to be people surveying from my land. I was not home. I was in Florida. Yes, my dog was out because my sister was taking care of my house. The only way I found out about this was messaging Barb. And then she told me who surveyed and I called them. But I wouldn't have known that there was a dock going in at all until this Sunday. The only issue I have with the dock is the boat hoist. The fact that it's going to literally be maybe 4 feet from my dock, where my children put their kayaks in the water on that side, with my dock and my boathouse. That dock and boathouse has sat there for 40 years. My grandparents built it. I'm not really great at public speaking. But like I said, I don't have an issue with the dock itself. I only have an issue with the boat hoist being as close as it is to.
You did a great job.
For the record, there is no boathouse being proposed or boat hoist. But
No,
I think you understand, it's the potential to be there.
Right, no, I mean, it's on the plan though, so like,
Well, that's a bit of the confusing nature. It's
Yes.
one on one plan and not on the other.
Right,
It's not on our final.
Right,
okay,
okay,
and that's fine.
all right, anything else?
I like the idea of it being pushed back 6 to 10 feet. But
Thank you.
thank you.
Okay. Is there anyone else in attendance who would like to speak?
Good evening, everyone. Philip Leon, 7573 Fifth Street. I'd like to commend you guys for doing a more thorough review on docks moving forward. There's been a lot of encroachment issues within the village, as you know, and I think Mr. Martin's right. There is no regulation on the boat hoist part of it, which I know that's not, that was pulled or rescinded from this application. I guess, if we're doing code revisions and that, we need to be in concert with the Army Corps here. So the Army Corps is saying they have no problem with the dock, but was the Army Corps aware of the potential for a boat hoist? So if the Army Corps setback is 10 foot from any structure, then it would behoove the applicant to either move the dock over or do as you nicely asked, commit to only the dock approval with the hoist going on the other side of the dock. But I think that's the difference. That's not consistent between the Army Corps code and the village code. And Brandon's done a lot more of this than myself, but the research and the problems that I've had with my neighbor and his unpermitted structure and the fact that they never had any approvals from anybody. It's good that you're doing this. Mark's bringing a lot of information and expertise. As far as the survey goes, we experienced this with the Beretta survey where we had Mark's former company did the subdivision and said the property was theirs, and there was 5 other surveys done that said the property was theirs, and then we get an eminent domain attorney out of nowhere that says the property's not theirs. So right there is case in point, right in this village. Currently, that surveys can be argued. And attorneys will argue anything as long as there's money and people won't pay it. You can argue any point. So I agree with Mark. On that end, especially water surveys, we all live in tight quarters here. And that's where the issues come in when you have people with 35-foot lots. And if it's a concave or convex shoreline, then there's an average of 3 surveys that need to be done. It's not just taking your littoral or your property line and extending it out into the water. It's a 3 survey overlay to get to that. Not saying that McMahon did a bad job. I'm just saying if you read, and I've done a lot of this research because of the cases that have been open with the 650 and between my property. There's a lot of information out there. And there's a lot of questions that need to be asked. So I think you guys are doing a good job, but yeah, any survey could be argued. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chair, could I just one clarification, very simple. OGS has jurisdiction, the Office of General Services on the land underneath, not the Army Corps. The Army Corps is federal and is not subject to seeker and has nothing to do with the state.
I can speak a little more to that too. So in my plight to get the encroachment on my property corrected, New York State OGS is in charge of the seafloor. The DEC is in charge of the water, the mean high water line, so from the seafloor to there. The Army Corps is in charge of navigability. So that's how that breaks down. I'm not sure if the Department of State's part, but they're part of the joint application also. But that's a jurisdiction of each one of those agencies.
Thanks.
Okay, is there anybody else in attendance who would like to speak on this? Are you speaking as a contractor or?
No, as a resident.
Okay.
Brandon Martin, 7250 Route 14, Sodus Point. I listened to the neighbor, listened to Phil. Phil had some good things that are going on. As showing that I believe this doc had done a little bit more review than the normal, which is awesome. And it shows that it's putting it in the right spot. I hear from the neighbor that stated that it would be only 4 foot off of her dock, so that means her dock is closer to the line than that would be allowed to today. So I don't know if that really, you know, as a property owner, I don't know if because they did it first and it's grandfathered that on my property, I'd be punished for it. So I think that the application should move forward as done. If there's problems with swimming or launching, I've been over there. It's the neatest house on the bay. It looks like a boat. It's cool. But there's definitely other places to swim on the other side of that boathouse. So I don't believe it limits them to nothing at all. And I don't know why the limitations on their property would stop Miss Woods from getting her application. So I support it.
Okay, thank you. Is there anybody else in attendance who would like to speak? Then we're going to open this up to those who are on Zoom. If you're on Zoom and wish to speak to this, please unmute yourself and speak. Hearing nobody, we're going to close public comment period. Before we do a short form environmental assessment, part 2, the board members have anything additional to say?
Well, from what I'm hearing is Valerie even is okay with the dock itself, where it's the placement of the hoist. So right now, we're just here, like many times, we're not here to vote on a hoist, we're here to vote on a dock.
Right.
So that's what I have to say.
All right.
I would just add to that, the hoist can only go if it's going on the west side, if it were to go on the west side. When the dock's in place, you can't change its location. It's gonna be fixed. The dock fixes the location of the lift. So if it were to move forward, that's why there's two easy solutions. One would be to put it on the east side, or the other would be to move the dock over slightly so that it could be on either side.
Yeah. Any other comments before we start the secret form? All right, then we're going to go ahead and with our part 2 impact assessment.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
could
sir.
we instruct the secretary to just reference to the form instead of having her try and keep up with the discussion, which is insanity? Especially in the first part, it's written, and I'll take notes on the second part.
Well, the second part gets turned in, so we don't need it in the notes because it'll be attached to the notes.
Okay, that's fine.
Make your life easy.
Thank you.
Number 1, will the proposed action create a material conflict with the adopted land use plan or zoning regulations? Our choices are no or small impact, or moderate to large impact.
No.
Okay. Will the proposed action result in a change in the use of the intensity of the land?
No.
Will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
No.
I would say moderate.
All right. We got
I mean, it certainly can impact neighboring community.
one of them that's forward. Mr. McKee, what are you saying? The question was, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of the existing community?
I would say no, based on the fact that everybody's got a dock on. It's nothing different
Okay,
for me.
Mark's a moderate?
No.
No.
No,
I think I'm a no too.
All right.
Community is bigger
We're going to
than one neighbor.
record it as, a no with one objection. Okay, number 4, will the proposed action have an impact on the environmental characteristics that cause the establishment of a critical environmental area?
no,
No,
Will the proposed action result in an adverse change in the existing level of traffic or affected existing infrastructure for mass transit, biking, or walkway?
no,
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 Will the proposed action cause an increase in the use of energy and it fails to incorporate reasonably available energy conservation or renewable energy opportunities?
no,
no,
Will the proposed action impact existing public or private water supplies?
no,
no,
Will it impact public or private wastewater treatment utilities?
no,
no,
Number 8, will the proposed action impair the character or quality of important historic, archaeological, architectural, or aesthetic resources?
no,
I'm gonna say small on the aesthetic.
Okay.
Is small an option?
Well, small is
Yeah,
So
just.
smaller,
the same as
no.
No,
Okay, small is no, never mind.
you gotta, it's kind of, you're stuck. I mean,
Yeah.
it's either yes or no, really.
Yeah,
Number 9, will the proposed action result in an adverse change to natural resources? Example given: wetlands, water bodies, groundwater, air quality, flora, and fauna.
no,
Will the proposed action result in an increase in the potential for erosion, flooding, or drainage problems?
no,
no,
Will the proposed action create a hazard to environmental resources or human health?
no,
no,
Okay. Part 3, I will fill out and submit this to Kevin tomorrow. We, this is a preliminary,
Mr. Chairman,
yes, sir.
I think that you really should, have a motion on the seeker. It's really the proper way to do it. You declare, if you've gone through this, you cite what you are basing your decision upon, and then you pull the board and have them vote so that the seeker is a separate vote. And you're basically either issuing a negative declaration, which is, it's not going to have a negative environmental impact, or a positive declaration,
Right.
which would be, it would have an impact and you'd move to an environmental impact statement.
Right.
So it sounds to me like the board is moving to a negative. You should just state that, and you should also reference what you're saying that because of, and specifically my concern would be the survey, because the survey is the basis for everything that this littoral lines that's in question or are put forth by the surveyor. We don't want the village to be the one that's saying where these littoral lines is. It's the professional, the surveyor.
Right.
So
And that's,
if you make a motion, maybe just say that it would be issuing a negative declaration. It's an unlisted action, negative declaration. I can't make this motion, so somebody should be able to make it, because I'm not voting. Based upon the short environmental assessment form, the littoral line survey.
we usually do that at the end.
Well,
We
see, you
voted.
should be voting separately. You see, everything that we used to do isn't always right.
No, I'm just saying that we've done it, we've done it.
well,
It just sounded
Seeker
like
has
you
to
were
be
saying
done.
we haven't done
Seeker
it,
has
we've
to
done
be
it
done.
at the end.
Seeker has to be done before anything, before any approvals are granted by this board.
you're right, Mark. And
These are the conditions.
do we want to do this now, or,
We can't do it at the end.
Right.
well, I
we're
didn't,
almost at the
okay,
So the the three conditions, that's not the conditions of site plan approval or of the approval, it's the condition of seeker. And that's what you want in the event that there's an Article 278.
Make a motion for 8429 South Sill Road. This is an unlisted action, negative declaration project of seeker with no significant environmental
Sorry.
impact based on the short form EAF, the literal line survey of 8429 Sill Shore Drive by McMahon and LaRue, and the New York State DEC letter of no permit jurisdiction.
All right, is there a second?
I'll second that.
All right. Mr. McKee, we're gonna start with you this time.
I approve.
Yes.
Yes.
And I also am a yes, it's a unanimous approval. Now, again, this is the preliminary, we will see them back.
Kevin or Christine, I still think, on the application form, you're still showing, you're not showing the name of the property owner, and it should reference the trust.
Yeah, I mean, all the documents, that's fine. I mean,
Yeah, I'm just pointing that out, that
you want me to fill out the
you're
form
the
again?
name of the applicant, but right now,
Yeah.
the application doesn't show a property owner name.
Okay, I can fill it out again with the name of the trust.
I would say add it to
Sure.
the application. It's
Or
already,
stop by the office and,
just has to be typed in.
you can,
Happy to do that.
and then.
You're asking,
Pardon me, Kevin?
I thought you were asking for me, sorry.
I'm sorry, my hearing aids are not doing too well tonight.
Actually, they did ask for a question of you, Kevin, I think.
I thought so, I just didn't hear what it was.
I'm suggesting to Kevin that he get that filled out. fully.
Yeah, and I thought Christy answered it, sorry.
And she did.
Okay. I know that Brandon says he never done it, but we have had the drawings of docks submitted before, and I would like that. So,
No, wait a second, if I may, that was in the DEC, the drawing of the dock is there.
that's just a
Yeah,
overhead structure, it doesn't show how it's being built, it doesn't show,
materials.
you know, the actual.
Do you know what application that was, Bruce?
I have to go back, it's been a few years, but yes, I can find it, if I have to.
If you could, that way I know for the future what you're actually gonna be asking for.
Okay.
I'd appreciate it.
No problem. Okay. All right, does anybody want to make a motion?
I'll move that we provide preliminary application or preliminary approval of the application to construct a dock at 8429 Sill Shore Road, subject to providing the planning board with the input from the other agencies and together with a request that any future dock placement, future hoist placement, I'm sorry, be returned to the planning board for its review.
Can you also please add about documentation of who the trustees are? Please.
And that
One page.
that
Can I
the
apologize that,
I just want to know if there's ever been any precedent for a hoist
Wait,
approval
Christy,
by
Christy.
the planning board. Go ahead, Kevin.
Christy.
This is so unusual. I mean,
No,
this is
hold on.
very discriminatory. Go ahead.
I can't interrupt you guys during a motion, but I also got to make sure I just hear it correctly. Can you just restate the motion so I can hear it?
I'll try to, Kevin.
Yeah.
I'll move that we provide preliminary approval of the application to construct a permanent dock at 8429 Sill Shore Road, subject to providing the planning board with information with approvals provided by the other agencies. We only have DEC at this point at the board level. And to further request that evidence be provided of the trustee ownership of the properties, and that there also be a request that any placement of a permanent dock at the site be subject to review of the planning board at that time.
You get that, Kevin?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Mr. McKee? Okay, let's start on this side. Kathy?
Yes.
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 I vote yes.
Yes, okay. All right, Christine. Christie, you got the preliminary approval. We'll see you back in a couple of weeks. Mr. Martin, I'll be in contact with you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay. Mr. Hyatt.
Good evening. Oh, sorry. Steve Hyatt, 7114 Central Ave. I'm here seeking final approval on the project on my property at address. The accessory building adjacent to the primary residence. It's a 20 by 36 structure, 2 stories. I turned in revised plans to Kevin last week. Hopefully everybody had a chance to at least glance at them. There was a couple of areas of concern that were addressed. First of all, the second floor layout has been finalized and put into the drawings, so that's there. There are some comments and concerns about the congestion between this accessory structure and the primary residence with the outdoor staircase. So talked to the architect and we had that moved indoors. So now the entry to the second floor will be through a front door and up interior stairs as opposed to exterior stairs. And honestly, after that meeting, I thought about it. I said, you know, outside stairs, maintenance, all those issues. So there's that. And one last thing that shows on the plans. After that meeting, I did go out and stake it out in my yard, and there's one post, support post for the second floor deck that was going to be very close to the house into my landscaping actually. So again, I talked to the architect and had him move those back to cantilever the support to the extent possible structurally. And that's really it. That's all that's different from the last time.
Okay, noticed the second floor you show no room division, no bathroom, no kitchen.
Excuse me?
No, that's the old one. That's the new one.
Yeah, it got mixed in there with the carryout.
Yeah. You want to just look at this?
Yes.
So we've got it.
Do you have it?
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, we have a hard copy.
I've got a hard copy here too.
I give you 2 years and 1 mouth, and I understand the proportion.
Bruce, you want to see full sign?
There you go.
Oh, I apologize.
No problem. In fact,
Right.
about a week ago, I was standing right in this room, restapling the site plan back to the new drawings because the site plan did not change.
Now, what are your intentions for this?
I'm building a garage for storage, my shop, that happens to have some additional living space above.
Okay,
taking advantage of what little
When I
land I have.
said intentions, I meant for the living space above, is it going to be a rental? Is it going to be a mother-in-law?
I don't understand the purpose of the question.
Well,
It's a one-bedroom apartment that meets all the zoning.
Question is, what's the purpose of it?
It's additional living space for my residents. My property, I should say.
In other words, you don't want to say whether it's going to be rental or not.
I don't know what I'm gonna do with it just yet. That's an honest answer. As I told you at the first meeting, the pre-approval meeting, I have an aging mother that may need a cheaper place to live in the near future. That's one option. There's many others. I have friends and family that come in from out of state all summer long.
So no one drives a blue truck like mine.
Excuse me?
I said one drives a blue truck like mine.
You're exactly right.
All right. Members, questions for Mr. Hyatt?
I'm glad you moved the steps in.
Oh, me too. It takes up a little room, but it's safer and just all around.
I feel better.
It relieves that congestion
Yeah.
between the house and the accessory structure.
Now, this is, you merged the section you bought off your neighbor. It's one property now.
It's one tax property.
With this building on it, you won't be able to, subdivide it back.
I understand.
It's like to make it understood.
No, I understand that. There's not enough lot there to subdivide it without a whole bunch of zoning.
You'd be surprised what people try.
Be that as it, I understand.
Kevin, any questions?
No, I likewise, like the idea of moving the stairs inside. You still intend to maintain the deck on the second floor, same size?
Same size.
Okay,
Print did not change, just the support.
okay.
Two outboards that were out at the corners.
Now you moved them.
They're now,
inboarded them.
they're now back towards the accessory structure, 30
Yeah.
inches.
Okay,
And Dave Secor is my architect, and we talked about it, and I said, move it as far as you can, that's structurally allowed, and that's as far as he said, you can move it. That's where it is on the plan.
thanks.
Loretta?
No problem.
Mr. McKee?
No, I have no.
I do have some comments. You mentioned you did submit revised architecturals, which I like what you've done and appreciate those changes. You mentioned you didn't change the site plan, which we did comment on the site plan when you were here last. I asked about driveways and parking for this new structure. We can't read the plan, the setbacks, you can't read on the plans. There's no site data, there's no setbacks that you can read, there's no coverage notes. One thing that I spent a lot of time on looking at, because I couldn't understand, is your survey has a re-subdivision, which you did. I wasn't here for, but the new plan doesn't show the lot linings properly, so it's very confusing. And I finally did receive the resub plan on your site plan. The line through this new building is missing, which is no longer there. But it's important that the resub, this drawing implies that the lot got smaller, that indeed your lot got larger. But it's very confusing. This drawing basically doesn't explain it. So I find the site plan to be lacking in information that I needed to assess. But what I have more concern with is not necessarily yours, but I think that this building is awful large for the property you have. You have about 5,000 square feet, and you added another 2,700 square feet. You haven't listed the coverage, which
I'm sorry, how many square feet do you say on that?
2,700 square feet is the parcel you added?
Oh, you're talking about
The land.
parcel that.
Right, right.
Yeah, okay.
The code allows you to
So
not meet
closer to-
coverage and setback data because your lot is substandard. Um,
I understand.
so it appeared on your site plan that your lot was getting smaller. It's actually getting larger, which is great.
Well, I mean, survey map's pretty clear.
Well, it wasn't submitted. The survey map is wrong, is what I'm saying. This is wrong. There's lines missing on it. So that was a problem.
Well, that's a site.
I
One
understand.
copy of the survey, I can provide that.
Well, I found it since. My point is, you've got about 7,000 square foot. And your coverage is going to be approaching 40%.
That's not correct.
Well,
That's not
it
correct.
was not provided to us, so I had to calculate it
It's right
myself.
there on, it's right there on the site, and it tells you what the lot coverage is. I think 7 point something percent. All right, so,
It says 27% on here.
so green surveying.
I can't read that.
Well, it's picking up a B-size drawing for a D-size plot.
Well, that's unfortunately what we get.
No, that's not. I gave 5 copies of this
Okay.
to copy, okay?
We always don't come into the office to.
I came in the office numerous times.
I dropped them off.
Okay, so let's get to the point of
Here you go.
I also feel that your application, and let me just finish because I'm gonna end this quickly. Your application, I believe, is 2 primary uses, which is not allowed on one lot. You're basically going to have 2 residences in separate buildings on one lot.
It's everything defined as an accessory building by code.
Well, and that's what I'm gonna get to.
Okay.
Finish. The code enforcement officer has defined it as an accessory building, so therefore your dwelling unit, which the code requires 1,250 square feet or 12,500 square feet of living or land area for each dwelling unit. You now have 2 dwelling units.
But that's a complying lot, right?
No, it is not. It has nothing to do with a complying lot. Okay, bottom line is, there's a discussion that whether or not you have 2 primary uses or you have an accessory use and primary use. Is the residence then an accessory to the accessory? That's not for you to determine or me. That's the code enforcement.
I'm not aware.
Well, but the board should understand that that's what we're calling this, that the apartment above is an accessory to an accessory. Which to me, it's a primary, it's a dwelling unit. And if you look at the code, when you have 2 primary uses on a site, then you have to comply with the code, and that would require he have a 25,000 square foot lot. This is not the applicant's problem because it's a code interpretation issue, which has not been resolved. And
I did.
we also have given the applicant preliminary approval, which I think is, means a lot. Let me just finish. Finally, the code enforcement officer has made that determination. So I feel you're within your rights, but I'm just stating all this because I don't think we should be looking at it this way in the future. I think we should be looking at separate buildings with dwelling units. Needs to be defined, is it a primary use or an accessory use? And it's, we
I
can't
did
talk when we're not in a meeting together, so I'm talking now.
Well, we can't.
And I did get resolution from the attorney
Yes,
on that.
Sorry, Kevin, I just have a quick question. So this is
Yeah.
Kevin?
interpretation, which is his job.
His job, right, right. Okay,
Can you
so,
hear me?
yeah, go ahead, Kevin.
Yeah,
I'm just
I
trying to
did get
figure it out.
resolution. That's no.
You're
So
breaking
my
up
interpretation
terrible,
does. I sound terrible.
No, you were breaking up.
Oh, okay. Sorry. My interpretation does stand. The attorney agrees with me on my interpretation of it, that it's an accessory unit. And as long as you only have one primary on there, as long as the lot is held in ownership prior to the adoption of zoning, then that doesn't come into play. The 12,500.
Okay, well, I asked you this last week, stopped in today and
Yeah,
Yeah.
I can show you the call log. He literally called me at 5:30 tonight, and apologized for not getting back to me sooner.
Okay. All right,
So just for my information here, the final answer then is that, Kevin, you've determined this to be an accessory structure?
Correct.
accessory use, not an accessory. It's an accessory use,
Accessory use. Okay.
but it's a residence.
Kevin's looking at it as a garage. Which primarily is what it is, and instead
So
of
you'd have
a garage with
to open
living.
up the code book to 190, 190-15 is where we're looking at the reduced lot sizes.
yeah, I got it.
Yeah, and then I'm looking at, you have to look at A, B, and C all together. So pretty much what we're saying, Mark's saying 190-11 requires 12,500 square feet per dwelling unit. So like when you subdivided, can't use another app. When you did a subdivision for a recent dwelling from another person, you made sure that they had 12,500 square feet of lot area. But for him, his is held in ownership prior to the adoption of zoning because the Heights subdivision was done in the 20s, I believe it was, 20s or the
But it's
40s.
been subdivided twice since then.
It's still held in ownership prior to. So then my interpretation is it's only one primary use, and then this is the accessory use and accessory building. So you follow those setback requirements, the 10%, the 25 from the road and the 12.5 from the rear.
The key to the discussion is the use being that the garage leads in being an accessory use, and you don't look at the secondary dwelling unit. But if you look at the table on page 190 in 190-11, in a district residential area per dwelling unit, 12,500. That is overridden by what Kevin's saying in 190-15, if you consider a dwelling unit to be an accessory use in an accessory building. Much too much to get into, but
Which leads you to accessory.
accessory of an accessory, which the primary use, I think the greater level use is the dwelling unit, not the garage.
Well, I think this is argument that just reinforces the fact our code needs to update.
But also, this board gave you a preliminary approval, which means something. And the code official has made a statement that means something. So all I'm bringing it up is that we need to do something differently because we could be building houses next to houses.
All right. Let's see, we were heading this way.
I have no further questions.
Anybody on the board have any more to add?
Nope.
Do we have a motion?
I move to approve final site plan for Steve Hyatt, 7114 Central Ave, to construct a 20 by 36 two-story garage structure with an 8 by 10 second-story deck for stamped plans.
Second.
Kathy?
Yes.
Okay. All right, let's start with Mr. Catley.
I'll say yes.
Kathy?
Yes.
Mr. McKee?
Approve.
Yes.
I'm a yes. All right. We're good to go.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for your time. If you don't mind, I only have some.
Sure.
Well, Kevin's got-
Thank you.
Kevin's got my-
Yeah, we've got it right.
Where's that plan? You can take where's the plan I gave you? Take this one too, Mr. Hyatt. It's the architectural. I had it, it's a current plan. Well, they're on it. No, I'm not gonna keep this. I've got.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
all right. Mr. Carey, you still there? See the top of your head.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you now.
All right.
You wanna refresh your memory and tell us about your project? Or
Chairman,
projects?
I'm going to recuse myself.
Okay, thank you.
So I did exactly what you asked. I had a new survey done up on top, showed where the pole barn, moved it back, showed a door, and went down below and showed the 2 bathrooms. That's it.
And you provided a site plan.
You've got everything.
Yeah. And I appreciate you doing that. Okay.
You guys need a break after the last 2. You gotta have something easy.
Now. Board members, questions?
The structure that's going up top, the barn, are we gonna have any windows?
No, it's just a storage building. And you have to remember, it's up there by itself, and I don't want it to get tampered with like they did at Camp Beechwood 3 or 4 times.
Okay. Is there enough egress? Do we need to add another door?
No.
We're just talking about fire
Right, well,
concern.
the doors are huge.
Well,
As you can see on the plan, they're barn doors, they open, they're not overhead doors.
But you'll keep those locked, right, Bruce?
Yes,
In the ordinary course.
yep,
So I
but there's
think.
plenty of egress for a fire truck or whatever.
No, this is more getting stuck in the building.
Yeah, yes, there's plenty, yep.
Well, yeah. So if you're in the building, Bruce, those doors are unlocked from within, those sliding doors.
That's exactly right. Yep,
Okay,
all right, the sliding doors are locked on the inside.
That's what he said.
correct.
How do you get inside? If there's no other door.
No, there is a door.
is there's a man?
There's a man door.
There's a
I
man.
added the man door you asked
Okay.
for.
Okay, that was my question. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
What are you gonna be storing in this building?
All the equipment I have down there.
Down.
If you go to the RV park, I have a backhoe, a bulldozer, a skid steer, one of those big lifts to go up on buildings to do work. Snorkels, I mean. That's what it's for. So the stuff doesn't have to stay outside.
Is this zone residential? No.
It shouldn't be. It's been a park for all those years.
Kevin, what's the zoning on that real quick? That's all. Commercial park?
Up there, I believe it's residential. I'm grabbing the map real quick.
Residential?
Yeah, it's residential.
All right,
That's good.
well, the man door on. Do you have a ridge vent on that?
Pardon?
A ridge vent?
Yes, at the top. Yep.
You may recall on got a thing about ventilation, especially when you got equipment in there. You can see,
Well, you have to keep air moving anyways, because when you don't heat something like that, sooner or later, twice a year, you're gonna get condensation, and that's no good, so you always have to vent it.
all right, thank you. All right. Questions?
Do we allow pole barn? non-residential for storage?
Get garages for storage. There's, one right
Yeah,
there.
it's just,
Uh,
cause I just know when everybody says when you come into Sodus Point, you don't wanna see this, they don't wanna see this, and I'm like, what's ever allowed, I believe should be allowed.
The
Not-
neighbor across the street, we approved one last year.
Okay.
You won't see it anyways from the road because it's so far back and you're looking at the gable end. If you get my drift,
Yeah.
so,
Any other questions for?
but there's 15 acres of land there, just so everybody knows. I mean, I don't really care what it's zoned for, because I'm not gonna build houses, but it's a 15-acre parcel there.
Yeah.
Bruce, I don't have any questions about the upper building. The addition of the second floor on the other building, there appears to be only a single door entrance in that building. Am I reading those plans correctly?
There's gonna be one in front and one in back. I didn't really look at them. I just told him to get the bathrooms in there.
Okay, because I think
Are you talking on the second floor?
No, entrance to the building.
Right, well, right now there's two, so I don't see why that would change.
Yeah, I need to.
Right now, there's two down there, front and back. Or end to end, whichever way you want to look at it.
I don't see two, Bruce.
On the existing building is what I'm saying to you.
Oh, okay, on the plans that we were given, you're only showing one.
Okay, well, trust me, draw one in, there'll be another one in the back. I didn't look at his plans. I didn't think I had to.
You wanna see the big plans?
I'll look over your shoulder. See, I could see this one door.
Right.
Yeah.
I do know on the existing building, there are doors on the
East end.
yes.
On this end.
Yes. All right, any other questions for Mr. Terry? All right. If there aren't any other questions, is there a motion?
I move that we approve the final site plan for Bruce Carey 8039 Lake Road to construct a 50 by 40 pole barn with 2 doors per plans and adding a second story onto existing building, including having 2 doors per stamped plans.
I'll second that.
All right. Mr. McKee,
I approve.
Ms. Beretta?
Yeah.
Mr. Kevin?
Yes.
Ms. Fogarty?
Yes.
No.
Okay, and I'm a yes, so it's a unanimous. Okay, Bruce.
All right, thank you, everybody. You better go home or go have a drink
Oh,
after
no,
tonight.
no, to go. Mr. Gilbert's been very patient with us.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, good night.
All right, Mr. Gilbert.
Hello, so a couple weeks ago, I think, I don't know if Matt Nowak is here or if was he here or? Okay. Well, I think there might have been some confusion, but I'm just trying to instruct, did Kevin give you color copies of what I sent, of what I gave the zoning board? No?
It's got red on it?
Yes.
Yes.
We have that. we have that.
Yes, okay, perfect. So all I tried to do there is to show, we're as prepared for the first meeting with you guys, and I wasn't present, but just trying to have a lower patio. It's more than likely gonna be a concrete or a stamped concrete patio. It connects the existing deck to the existing shed. I think some of you thought the shed was maybe new, or at least that's what I heard. It's an existing shed. So, and having done that, my wife and I wanted to cover it so we can use it in inclement weather. And so we originally were gonna just cover it with a normal roof, and then I said, well, let's make it a second story deck if we can. So that's what I was asking for, and in order to do that, it was the same setbacks as the existing shed, which was 6 foot to the north and the west, basically 6'1" and then 5'9" on the west. So we were just looking for final approval to put that lower patio in, and then an upper deck, which would be 22.5 by 14.3, roughly the same with length as the shed, with some stairs coming off the existing deck to get to the upper deck.
I will note that the planning board was fine with leaving the shed where it is, when we talked about having that moved.
The zoning board.
The zoning board, so I'm sorry.
Yeah, because it's been there since, I don't know when it was put. And I don't know if.
Did the zoning board approve everything?
Yes.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, well, that's good. It's not your fault.
And the lot coverage
Well,
is,
that's exactly right. It's just 31.6%.
okay,
That's why I put the upper patio over what's just shed already. out
Okay.
of that. And I did eliminate the walkways on the side of the house, which is just a waste of lumber at that point. The walkways which helps with the lot coverage. And that's the math on the,
yes, I see it, thank
Second
you. Well,
page.
there was two calculations, so I just
Yeah.
wanted to double check. Thank you.
yeah, one of them was, yeah. the
One of them
original-
was 29.4 and the other one's 31.6, so I just,
Oh, yeah, where's the?
Yeah,
I don't
it's
think the
confusing.
20.
Yeah.
so I just, but the zoning approved it, so,
Yeah, well, yeah, it was 31.6 is what I was asking for.
okay.
I wonder if I wrote the 29. Yeah.
I think it's the existing possibly.
Oh, exactly. That's
Okay.
exactly right. So the front page, my page, I wrote, this is the site plan as it was built in January when they
Oh,
did my
okay.
addition. I'm
Perfect.
sorry.
Perfect.
So as today, I'm
Got it.
29.4.
Got it.
Absolutely. So
Thank
I was
you.
trying to show you by taking the additional 265 square foot for that concrete.
Okay,
And then I ended up being 31.6 for the lot
Okay.
coverage.
I think it's another flaw in the code that your lot is standard lot and works, and you have to get a variance, but you could have half the size lot and you'd be okay, which is not good.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
But
Yeah, I feel lucky with 9,000 square feet. I can play cornhole and have fun, and I've got room.
I guess the one thing that I had hoped for was a plan that kind of was a whole plan that showed your whole lot, so we can see, you know, for instance, how this impacts view sheds in different directions. I mean, we've got little pieces here. You did, I appreciate, put some of this on the same plan so we can kind of see them together, but it's really hard to tell, is this foundation existing?
That's a good question. So let me show you. That is Robert Morris's survey from January. That's the new addition.
Right, okay.
So
And
it's
then are these
existing
decks,
now.
are these decks existing?
This is the site plan as of January 24th.
What my point is, I'm trying to point out that if somebody looks at this plan in a year from now, they don't know any of that. Because you can't see it. You'd have to know what exists today.
Well, again, you guys have this, and this says, this is how it was built. So
Okay,
this is from
and then
January,
is
so I photocopied that.
is the proposed on a new plan?
No, because but now it's just a concrete patio.
But that would help to have a plan that shows all of your project all at once, so that it can go in the file and say, here's what you're approved for. We don't have that. We're gonna have a plan that has a
Because this
foundation.
wasn't thought about 2 months ago.
I know, but you're doing it now.
Yes, I am. So I added 3 lines to it to show the border of the concrete.
Well, we spent probably half an hour last meeting trying to figure out what you were doing, because we couldn't really tell.
Well, I apologize for that. I guess, Matt, I'm sorry.
Okay,
I had given him what I was looking to do, so
He seems somewhat confused too.
he didn't,
and the other thing, I guess, just
he shouldn't have.
a comment, not to hold you up with it, but
Yeah,
the drawing is scaled and it's a good depiction, but you know, the photo and it doesn't really give us a feeling of what it looks like. So we're kind of like going on.
that's fine.
Well, but it's not for us really, because we're making a decision based upon, you know, something
So
that's
you
a sketch.
An architect then, for me to actually go to the architect and have him draw up a deck?
I'm saying it would be nice to have, as we asked for at the last meeting, a plan that shows everything that we can then make a decision on, and it can be in a file.
So
I'm
if you
not
need that,
saying
then-
that needs to hold up the job.
Oh, well, the zoning board was very happy with that presentation, and I think they can see what it's gonna be. It's a 2nd-story deck, probably aluminum decking, glass railing with posts and stamped concrete underneath.
But they're granting a variance. This board is looking at the structure itself.
Yeah. Well, a lot of that's TBD. So, I mean, I
It's
haven't
what?
got the colors, I haven't, it's 6x6s, am I gonna paint them? I don't know.
Yeah, but all that was in a note on a cover sheet to us, not on a plan, and that's really.
Hey, Mark.
what we're
Mark,
looking
can I
for.
pause you for a second? I don't mean to interrupt you guys. I'm removing people from Zoom. If you get booted, and you want to come back in, do it. We're getting bombed by people. So if I don't know you, you're being removed right now. So, sorry if you get removed.
I'm done.
Well, no, Mark, what you're asking, we have asked many, many times. Now, board members agree, we have asked for stamped plans, we have asked for certain things. So what you're asking for really isn't anything new, and if we can get that again, or try to.
Well, I think the
I
board
mean-
needs a compromise. We don't need full working buildable construction drawings, but we need
Right,
an elevation, just an elevation that shows height, color,
Right.
materials.
Right.
Then the board can say, yeah, this looks, for me, it's very hard to understand. I can vision a lot, but I can't vision what you're building. It's a freestanding deck just sitting there by itself.
So on that 3rd page, you can't visualize what I drew? Get to the 3rd page?
I can visualize that. I can't visualize how it's gonna look. Because it's kind of awkward. It's a flat roofed building sitting out by itself. That seems awkward to me. So I would think that some architectural flavor and treatment would help
Okay,
make it look good. You know, plus it's right on your neighbors. It's needed a variance because it's close to your neighbors.
yeah.
So, and then we don't know who else it's blocking because we can't see the whole lot. Those are my concerns.
Well, I thought part of what you guys did was go and walk on the lot. And if you
But-
go walk on the lot, you're gonna see. No, I'm sorry, that's fair. If you go down there and walk, you can see.
I
And
agree.
it doesn't block the thing.
But
Yeah.
that in a year's time, when someone comes in and complains about it, the building inspector can't pull out what I saw a year ago and show them, hey, this is what the board approved. Because it doesn't exist. It doesn't exist in the form you gave it to us.
I know, what you're saying is you can't visualize it, so it's a mild, I'm just, to me, that seemed like you could have. A couple of these guys came and visited my home. I'm just saying, why didn't you go visit it? I thought that was part of the. part of the-
No, that's not what's
Oh, all
being
right, okay.
discussed. I
Okay,
think,
then I misunderstood.
from our standpoint, it's good in every application to have plans that can be gone back to. Maybe not by us, but by others, and get a clearer picture of what was proposed and what was approved. And, you know, a lot of the guys around here, guys I work with, will draw it up just like your guy, you know, and it's good for you and I. But it might be a little bit better for us to have it in more detail. That's all.
Well, again, isn't
Agreed.
this
This
something
was the-
Kevin should be
This was a
doing,
chance to see.
asking for?
Yeah,
I think the board has to understand what it wants to see. And again, some of these plans are way over the top. We don't want.
yeah,
We don't need it.
yeah,
any
and that's,
questions,
it was that, second story that, but you're right, yeah, it's.
And I started out by saying that
Yeah.
each dimension drawing that you gave us, your sketch is good, but it doesn't give a flavor. It doesn't tell you the treatment. Is it AZAC? Is it metal trim? Is it vinyl? Is the whole thing covered in plastic? I don't know, because you're saying that's to come later. And you explain the footers and all these things in an email. That really should be on a plan.
Okay, well, that's.
And I'm sorry, I'm just trying to express.
I don't know what color it's gonna be.
Well, that you really kind of should. If it's gonna be bright orange, we might have a problem.
I mean, Bruce Harry just said he didn't even look at the prints he gave me. He said it twice.
I wasn't sitting. I can't say.
I know you.
Oh,
I mean, come on. Yeah.
Well, it's just,
It's a debt.
It's really,
so I really, I
it's
mean,
really an issue for us.
yeah, I mean,
This is nothing against you.
yeah,
No,
okay.
it's not.
It's not.
But if you're gonna paint it orange, it is maybe an issue for.
It would be
you.
an issue, yeah, and I would not want it orange. That's absolutely correct. You know what? Yeah, you're right. I guess consistency is important. We didn't talk about the color of my house. We didn't pick the color of my house until 4 weeks ago. So there's actually an example. And I just throwing that out right now.
But I can't be held to what was done in 1900. I
No,
mean,
no.
things
It's
change.
built.
This is from 3 months
It's
ago.
built, I know,
But
so nobody asked you what color our house was gonna be.
Yeah, so this
I'm
is.
just, oh, nobody asked me what our house. We
Nobody
didn't get the
does.
siding until a month ago. So I think that's a fair statement. No one asked me what color the house was gonna be. And it could be orange, and it's not, but. So that's fine. I think it's clear that consistency is a priority here. Anyway, that's what I'm asking.
A permit can be confirmed or denied based on a color.
Yeah, that's.
No, I just, if we do gotta get that, because there's a lot of houses in this village that I don't think should be the color they are.
That's not the point, Brandon.
Oh, well, okay, but that was.
Pardon me. This is not open for public comment. Brandon.
All right.
Okay. Any other questions or comments from the board? All right. One way or the other, we need a motion.
I move that we approve the final site plan for Rick Gilbert, 7569 8th Street, to construct a 19 by 14 foot patio and a 22.5 by 14.3 foot second story deck for per submitted plans.
second.
All right. Mr. Cadley.
Approved.
Mr. Renner,
Yes.
Mr. McKee,
I approve.
Yes,
and I'll vote yes. Okay. Now, you've been approved. Congratulations. I do need to do a couple things. Don't involve you, though.
Oh, okay, thank you.
thank you.
First, this is Kathy's last official planning board meeting. And
I should have brought cake.
I want to, you don't want to eat a cake on me.
Anybody.
I want to thank Kathy for her years of service to the board, and wishing the best in the coming years, whatever they bring her. I also want to remind everybody that's still on Zoom and here in attendance that on April 17th, that's this Wednesday, at 7 o'clock here, We will have our question and answer session, on 141. So, we're just making sure everybody knows, all right?
And it's open for public comment, right?
It's open for public comment, the format is probably go to give everybody a fair chance. We'll do it in a round. Each person gets to ask one question after everybody's had their turn, then we'll go back. And you know, some people can keep going and going and going. And we want to make sure everybody gets a turn, all right?
Congratulations, Kathy.
I don't want anything from anybody on this board, let me tell you.
All right.
Now with that open position though, I'd like
Yeah,
to express
please.
my interest.
That's fine.
Whoops, it's not over
You
yet.
can look at it.
We'll address that later.
So
Okay.
moving forward, we don't have an architectural review board or standard.
Right.
And I see it coming up more and more in meetings recently about colors and things of that nature. Is that in the code? Is that something you really can rule on?
It's
I mean,
not.
is it worth the time? I guess that we've been spending time on it. Is it worth the time? So until that standard, and I see what you're getting at, Mark, because Mark's been bringing it to the table more. But if you can't rule on it, is it really worth talking?
All right, well, let's get down to the next thing that needs to be, and then get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We're adjourned. Thank you, everyone.